Hey everybody, Hat Creature here. Today in this video, we'll be talking about vapors and viral mods, the pros and cons, and why should you use them, and when should you use them. Because, once again, all masterminds give pros and cons to using both. Or more importantly, just the viral mod. That has a lot of cons, but there's also a lot of pros, and those pros are different on each mastermind. I'm going to go with Daniel, because they're the most useful on Daniel. This is why. A reason why you should use them is on Daniel, because a buffed up Daniel is incredibly powerful. And when should you use them? Well, it depends what kind of build you're using, would you want to use Vapors, or would you want to use the viral mod? Now, if you wanted to use it on Daniel, and you wanted to use a viral mod, it all depends on if you want to play a serious match, where, you want to win. You're going in there with that intention. Or if you're going in there just to have fun. If you're going in there to have fun, you can use any of the mods. The most fun, I would recommend, would be the Berserker one. The really fast speed demon zombies. That's just fun. It's a great spectacle to look at, especially when they have all the vapors on to go with it. It's just really cool. But if you want to go serious, the only one I would ever recommend would be Infection. Because, all your creatures will start infected, and if you were running a pure damage build, you wouldn't even need viral canisters to amplify the infection rate, because you're Daniel. You're constantly swiping them, you're constantly attacking them, so increasing your damage would be better overall, because increased damage also increases infection rate with each hit. It never says that, but that's a fact. So I would only recommend the Infection mod over the other ones if you want to be serious. But if you want to use Vapors instead, there are pros to using Vapors. Now the viral mod itself, the only pro is that you start with it. You have an edge. You always start with an edge. You start with it. The whole match, the whole game, you have that edge of infection, starting with it. And then as Daniel, you're harder to kill. But the pros of the sprays is that they're easier to bring out. They're if you have discount and you have a lot of energy, you can just, go through all the sprays and start putting down some creatures and then jump on in. And if you have a bunch of creatures in your preset, all your creatures have it. So even if you die early on, you just go to another camera and switch to another creature that already has all the sprays you just put down. The economy is, the Vapors provide easy economy. It eases the burden of the mod, because the mod will increase the cost of your creatures. So if you're playing Daniel, you would need to use the efficiency mod for creatures to mitigate that cost, to lower it. So this is 4, this is 4, this is 3. It'll always be that until you use discount. And that's on Daniel. Either or, which one should you use? It's really up to you what kind of build you want. You don't even have to use the mod. You don't have to use the sprays. You can use the enhancers. But I wouldn't use the enhancers. Frankly, I don't see any reason to use the enhancers anymore, unless you're playing Dr. Birkin. But anyway, you can use either or you can use both. Recently, I've been using both, because it's just nice to start with Infection. It gives me that edge. I'm, always lethal. I'm always lethal, no matter what creature I'm in. No matter how much health I have, no matter where I am, I'm always lethal. It doesn't matter if I have low health. Once I get to them, I'm a threat. That's why I use both. I start with this, and then I use the other, because, economy. But if you weren't playing Daniel, and you were playing, let's say, Annette, the pros and cons are different. The cons with the viral mods are gone if you run the right build. You can run creature efficiency, lower the cost by 1, and then you can run the creature mod, lower the cost by 1, and then with both of those minuses, you're just nullifying the cost of the creatures. You actually have a discount because you're running both of them. So this is 2, 1, 3, 2. And it doesn't even matter what viral mod you have. The pros stack on a net, because since it's a net and she's about buffs, either one of these you use doesn't matter. You can use any of the mods. You can have them all start regenning, or all with Bioleech, or all with Berserk. And if you were running buffs, that's 30% extra. And your entire equipment could, benefit that. You can run max health, and then use the regen mod, really hard to kill. Or you could use defense, and then the creatures have a base damage resistance of 7.5, or 7 depending on the math. I've been saying 7.5, and for now I'm gonna stick with 7.5. Swing says it's 7, maybe it is. Anyway, they'll start with a base of 7.5% damage resistance, and that's awesome. But if you use this guy, then this guy starts with a base, 15% damage resistance. And, pop into him, use some knockback resistance, and start wailing on him. He has a whole bunch of health, and in Area 2, he'll have even more health, because the health of the creatures goes up in each area. And so the pros of the mods go up. And the Vapors, they just don't go anywhere. The pros don't disappear and they don't add. They're just still good. Economy-wise, they're still good. If anything, they're better on a net than anyone else, because it's easier for her to swarm creatures. If she has this and discount, then the sprays will be 1, and then her creatures, depending on how to use it, will all be 1. Everything will be 1. So it's easier to use the sprays on her than it would be on Daniel, because the creatures would be 1 and the sprays would be 1. I mean, you can do the same thing on Daniel, but you wouldn't be able to swarm with Daniel. It all depends on the build. Now, for Alex, I haven't really been experimenting with the viral mods on Alex, to be honest. At the time of this video, I've mostly been practicing with traps and not infection. So, of course, you would want to use the infection mod on Alex, so all her creatures are infected. But maybe you would want to put the bioenergy on them instead. But that's just weird, because Alex, her main problem, which, it has gone down, but her main problem is economy. So if you're not using the infection mod and you're using a different mod, then you're just adding to the economy problem, and you're not getting a whole lot of benefit from it. Spencer, he has a whole thing about mods. So if you're using a Viro mod and you have battery on, well, you're just, the benefit is different, but it's more so. All your creatures can start with Bioleech, and then Spencer's all about bioenergy. So it would be a maximum benefit for bioenergy on Spencer, because you're always getting it, and he can spam creatures. So using a mod over sprays is good depending on the build you want to do. Now, everyone knows about Symbiosis Spencer. That one. So where your Vapors are always cost 1. You don't even need discount to make them cost 1. So once again, it's super easy to use Vapors on Spencer depending on the build. If you wanted to use Symbiosis, you can use the Vapors super easy. If you want to use Battery, you can use the mod. He can use both, and he makes them both better. So there's pros with Spencer for Vapors, there's pros for Vapors with a net, and there's some pros on the mods with Daniel and Annette and Spencer. It's all about how are you using the Vapors? Who are you using it on? What kind of build are you going for? Do you even need them? Like, who are you using the mod on? Because you can't use it in every build, because it increases the cost. It's not cost effective to use a mod in every build. Nikolai, I don't know what to say. Nikolai's in a bad spot. He just gets nerfed every patch. I don't know what mod to use on him, because I don't think any of them benefit him, because they only benefit creatures. You can use creatures on Nikolai, but all of his abilities complement guns, except for Blood Trail. That one. That one benefits creatures. But, eh. Anyway, I hope I answered some questions for the mods and the Vapors. This guide was mostly to, you know, give you a little bit of insight on when to use them, how to use them, why should you use them, you know, what's better, what's worse. This is going to be the build I'm using for mods on Daniel. And then I got some sprays in there, you know, so they all start with infection, but I can give them Bioleech or Berserk or Regen. I might take Regen out of this deck. Or maybe not. But yeah, I'll probably take it out of this deck, because I don't need it. There you go. I don't need this Vapor. I don't need the Enhancer, either, because of the build I'm running. I got 2 knockbacks and 2 damage. And then I got Vampire and Sadist. I guess you could stack Vampire with the Regen Vapor. But that's what Sadist and these are for. You know what, I might leave it in there, actually. It still has a place. But see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. There's a reason for the Vapor to be in there. There's a reason for this to be in there, because it works with the build. And you could change this mod to the Bioenergy mod, the Regen mod, and then it would still work with Sadist and Vampire, because you have extra damage. Although I wouldn't recommend having extra damage again, I would actually recommend health and damage resistance. But, you know, if you wanted to make a build where you're really tanky, but you want to use the Regen mod, then you should do it on a net. Do that on a net. If you want creature control and maximum survivability, use a net. Just go ahead, switch that out to Regen. Go with creature efficiency, and then, you know, stack health. Just health, health, and then use defense. Or you could stack damage resistance with the fortifying virus. You can, you know, you can use all 3 of these and get 30% damage resistance, and you have 80. And then with the buffs, it'll be, you know, even higher. Maximum 110% damage resistance, just because of this. And since they all start with Regen, all your creatures are harder to kill at base. They all start with damage resistance. They all have high health. They're all cheaper, too. Or you can go, you know, max and do what I do, and use even more HP. But then your creatures wouldn't be cheap, but at that point, it really wouldn't matter anymore. So if you wanted to use the Regen mod, I would suggest using it on a net, just because of those factors. You could use it on Daniel, of course, and there is a build for it, but if you want maximum survivability, guarantee you're going to live the longest, I would always choose a net, just because of that damage resistance from the buffs. And, you know, that's why the Vapors are there. I didn't make it. I got the idea from Zombies Are Emo in his channel, in his Twitch, right there. Lich Queen Annette uses all Vapors instead of the mod, because having the mod, you know, would be this build. But I'm running this one with the Vapors, you know. Quickly get out the Vapors, quickly get out creatures, then jump in, and then get your ass kicked because you can't die, but you can't get off the floor. That's why you'd use the Vapors instead of the mod for this build. And that's why you'd use the mod instead of the Vapors with this build. It's all about perspective. Anyway, I hope that helped you out. I kind of tried to end it before, then I kept going, so I'm going to stop my ranting. I hope this video helped you out. If you enjoyed it, and if it did help you out, press that like button, you know, subscribe. I got many more videos on the way. I'm doing the Resident Evil 7 playthrough at the moment. Those videos take a lot longer to upload because I have to edit them compared to my Resistance videos, where I just record and pop it up, record and pop it up. The other one takes time. I have to take it off the PS4 and put it on the computer, and, that takes forever. But anyway, as always, have a great day.